guys, so Lloyd here, back again with another top 10 video. And today we're going to be counting down my top 10 favorite Masters of the Universe Origins figures of 2021. These are of course brought to us by the fine folks over at Mattel. And before I get into it, I'm going to set some quick ground rules so you know what to expect on my top 10 list. So, rule number 1, I gotta have it. Pretty obvious. If I don't have it, I don't really know how good or bad it is. Which leads me to rule number 2, have to have already reviewed it. Kind of helps me decide whether I like something or don't. If I've already reviewed it, that means I've given you my thoughts on it. So therefore, you know whether or not I like it or not. So, that said, stuff I don't have Wave 7, so therefore Jitsu, who is probably the only figure that would have made it onto the top 10 list from that wave, is not eligible to be on the list because I don't have him. And none of the Mattel Creations ball crap because I wasn't able to get any of it because screw Mattel Creations. Rule number 3, I have to like it. I'm not going to put something on my list just because everyone else does. That's stupid, cliche, and unoriginal. So, therefore, I'm not going to have a lot of good guys on my list. It is primarily villains. Spoiler alert. Actually, it is exclusively villains. So, there are no good guys on my list. I know we got a lot of popular good guy characters throughout the year, like Fisto and... well, Fisto. He's the one that comes to mind anyways. I know he's a fan favorite, but he's never been a favorite of mine, so he's not on my list. And as much as that probably pains some of you, too bad, my list, my rules. And then rule number 4, no deluxe figures. This is specific for this list. I am not going to include deluxe figures. There is one exclusive, and I am going to actually be including Wave 2 because most people didn't get Wave 2 until 2021. So I will be including some figures from Wave 2 as well as one exclusive, but they're all about $15 as far as the price point goes. They clock in at the standard figure price point. As far as deluxes go, I don't think we really got enough for me to spend the time to really pick out a favorite. I would say that is more than likely Mosquitor over there because he is a different character. He's a different villain character, and he was just a fun figure. But I also really like Buzzsaw Hordak and Battle Armor Skeletor. So they will be, for lack of a better term, honorable mentions because I do really like these figures. I had a lot of fun with these figures, but I'm not going to be including any deluxes on my top 10 list. Another honorable mention I will give to the He-Man from the Battle Cat and He-Man Target exclusive 2-pack, which I think was called Battleground or Battlefield Warriors. Don't quote me on that, but a really awesome version of Battle Armor He-Man, the superior version of Battle Armor He-Man. I really like the vac metal, the battle damage, and the fact it came with the shield instead of a goofy power effect. And, well, the vintage style head is nice. It was nice to get some different stuff with that Target exclusive version, which is another reason I put Skeletor and Hordak here. They came with what I think are the superior head sculpts for the characters that we didn't get in the standard line. And Mosquitor is just cool because he's Mosquitor, right? I mean, what is possibly better than a blood-pumping mosquito mutant guy with an alternate head that looks all kinds of freaky alien bizarreness? So with that being said, let's kick things off and get things started with the number 10 spot. Kicking things off with the number 10 spot, we have the leader of the evil horde himself, the mighty Hordak, who was released in Wave 4 of this line earlier this year, along with another character who cracked the top 10 list. Stay tuned for that. You don't have to wait very long, but stay tuned anyways. But now, granted, I did have some problems with this figure initially with the legs. I mean, just look at that boot swivel. That is absolutely atrocious. But thankfully, I got the Buzzsaw Hordak, which this guy is borrowing his legs for this video because, well, to be quite honest with you, other than that, he probably would have made the top 10 anywho. My only real gripe with this figure outside of the QC on my particular figure was I didn't really care for the head sculpt. So once again, he's utilizing the Buzzsaw Hordak kind of default head as opposed to his own. But other than that, I think Hordak is a really nice addition to this line and a nice companion piece for the She-Ra figure that came out in Wave 3. At number 9 is everyone's favorite master of odors. Well, maybe not so much in this case, but at any rate, of course, we are talking about none other than Stinkor, released in Wave 6 of this line, which I'm going to be honest is a relatively strong wave, and we're going to be seeing a couple other characters from that wave pretty soon on this list, so stay tuned for that. But getting back to Stinkor, yeah, well, he doesn't smell like Granny's cooch or hipster scrote, and could have benefited from having a blaster or even a gas mask like the MOTU Revelation figure has. I still think this is a fun figure, albeit one that smells more of molasses more so than anything, which is kind of interesting, but your boy's got a sensitive sniffer, so he's not entirely opposed to that. In fact, I might make it to where my Stinkor doesn't smell at all. But if you did want to spruce this guy up a bit and make him a little bit less of just a black and white merman repaint, I would say that maybe, just maybe, the MOTU Revelation head sculpt that doesn't have the gas mask would look pretty cool on this guy. I don't have that figure right now, but if you do, let me know in the comments below what that looks like. At number 8 is the second entry from Wave 4 of this line, and that's going to be none other than Ninjor, a figure I'm sure a lot of you don't even have the vintage counterpart of. Well, at least we have this one to compensate, right? Ninjor is pretty much all you could possibly ask for in a MOTU Origins figure. He's got 3 different weapons. He looks cool. He's got an awesome dragon tempo right on his chest. He just looks really cool and has some really cool weapons and is kind of different from MOTU. Not a whole lot of ninja or samurai type characters in MOTU, so he's a little bit more on the different side, but I don't think you could get a better action figure than a cool looking ninja with a lot of weapons. At number 7 is the second but not final entry from Wave 6 of this line, and that is of course going to be none other than the Lords of Power Beastman. And while I know that this isn't a traditional look for Beastman, mini comic or otherwise, I still think this is a really cool figure. I love the Gwar looking armor he's got going on, even though I think this design of Beastman predates Gwar by a number of years, so that's kind of funny. And then I also dig the Wolverine claws, the more ape-like head sculpt, and just the more feral look that this guy evokes compared to the Beastman we got in Wave 1, which seems a bit timid compared to this guy. I don't know, what do you guys think about that? Either way, my only major gripe with this guy is that he didn't come with a whip, but I don't think he's supposed to, but it would have been nice to have anyways, because it's always nice to get more stuff in the box. But needless to say, this is another awesome figure from a really solid wave. Sticking with not only Lords of Power variants from this line, but also, in my opinion anyways, superior variants from this line, we have the Lords of Power Merman, released in Wave 5 of this line, and unfortunately this is going to be the only entry from that particular wave. I will give an honorable mention to Faker, though. He was a fun figure, and also the regular Merman from Wave 3, was it? Earlier on this year, because that figure for a while was my favorite MOTU Origin of the year. Of course, he got dethroned really quick because, well, this Merman, while it is my favorite of the 2 Mermen, and Merman is still one of my favorite characters in all of MOTU, he's only a number 6, so yeah, he got dethroned quite a bit. But don't get it twisted, this is still a really awesome version of this character, and in my opinion is the superior of the 2. He's just a little bit more on the unique side with the different lower arms, legs, and armor, which again has some Gwar spikes going on, much like the Beastman we just talked about. Really, the only thing I would like to see made for this figure at some point is a cool looking trident. I know that's more of a 2000X thing, but the MOTU Classics version of this particular look for Merman did come with a trident and also a free Aquaman figure, because that 2-pack was only 30 bucks back in the Toys R Us days. Oh, where the days have gone. But at any rate, this is another solid entry from a really solid line. At number 5, and ironically enough, he who can see barely anything picks he who can see many things, and that is of course going to be none other than Triclops from Wave 4 of this line, the final entry from that particular wave on this list anyways. Yours, of course, may vary. But with that being said, Triclops is very sentimental to me because he was the first vintage figure I picked up on my own. The first vintage figure I ever got was, of course, Modulok. Shout out to T-Biz for that. But the first one I picked up on my own at a local toy show for $5 was good old Triclops. In pretty decent shape, I might add. So this guy is very sentimental to me, very near and dear to my heart. And I hope to aspire to one day be like Triclops, because like Triclops, my eyes too are jacked up, so therefore I need special glasses. Not sure if I do the whole Evil Warrior thing though, but at any rate, it's time now that we move on to the Big Four. Kicking things off with the Big Four at the number 4 spot is going to be none other than everyone's favorite psychotic cyborg master of weapons, Trapjaw, released in Wave 2 of this line, which I said earlier on in the video I was going to include because most normal people did not have this back in 2020. It was primarily a 2021 release, so therefore he and one other was eligible to make this list. And when I say normal people, I mean people who didn't stay up till ungodly hours of the night trying to get these off of Walmart.com in the initial pre-order, because F that. That said though, I really love this figure. Trapjaw is one of, hands down, the coolest characters in all of Masters of the Universe, whether you're talking Evil Warriors exclusively or otherwise. This guy's a really awesome character and a really awesome line, and we are going to be receiving a mini-comic variant of him relatively soon, so I am very much looking forward to that. But until then, you can't go wrong with the traditional look for this character, am I right? At number 3 is one that may come as a surprise to some of you, but I couldn't help but put him relatively high on my top 10 origins of the year list, and that is going to be none other than Webstore, the final entry from Wave 6 on this list, and a character that I've been looking forward to since this line started back in 2020. Webstore is one of my favorite characters in Masters of the Universe, and while this isn't the 2000X look with the spider legs coming out of his back, and I do wish he did have a hand to hold his grapple hook, so you could kind of have him dual wielding his weapons there, much like the 2000X Snackest Action is. I still think this is a really cool figure, albeit with some looseness in the legs. That is the one thing I will say that this line needs to fix sooner rather than later. The quality on some of the joints is starting to get a little bit on the loose side, so I think it's time for Mattel to tweak the molds a bit. But other than that, this is another solid figure from this line, and I'm super happy we got him in 2021. At number 2 is the only exclusive I decided to put on this list for reasons I mentioned towards the beginning of the video. I'm not going to get into that again because I am still salty about some of those things, but at any rate, of course, we are talking about none other than Skeletor / Keldor from the Rise of Evil 2-pack, which was a Target exclusive earlier in the year, a little bit tricky to find, but now is quite plentiful and even half price at some places, so there you go. But on top of being probably the best Skeletor figure we've ever gotten in this line, it comes with one of the best Keldor head sculpts I think I've seen in Masters of the Universe. Eat your heart out, MOTU Classics. But on top of that, it does also come with a really cool Kronos figure, which I'm going to give an honorable mention to because I think he gets a bad rap because it's not Trapjaw, because, well, you can't really get much better than Trapjaw. But also, I'd like to give an honorable mention to the retro style Skeletor, which was supposed to come out in 2021, but hasn't exactly hit store shelves. And really, I think the only way you can get it is by ordering him off of Amazon. But if you got that figure, I think the colors match this guy enough. You could use some of the alternate parts to have the kind of cool Halloween jeweled eyes Skeletor and a Keldor without the green on the armor and on the weapons. I think that would be really cool, and is something I'm looking forward to doing at some point in the near to distant future. But with that being said, it is time now that we wrap things up with the number 1 spot. Who's it gonna be? And my number 1 favorite Masters of the Universe Origins figure of 2021 is gonna be none other than Scareglow, the supreme ruler of Subternia himself, from Wave 2 of this line, the second and of course final entry from that wave on this list. Man, am I happy to finally have this guy. I got him mid-year 2021, and he has reigned supreme as my favorite MOTU Origins figure of not just the year, but of all time. Scareglow being my favorite character in all of Masters of the Universe, it made me very happy to see him finally just do something in MOTU Revelation, albeit being punked out by Orko not once but twice, and then serving Evelyn on top of that. Wasn't crazy about that, would have rather just seen him be a full-fledged bad arse, but at the same time, we did finally get to see Scareglow in action, so it made me like this figure that little bit more. And while I may not have the Masterverse Scareglow yet, it is currently in my pile of loot over on BBTS, there's no doubt in my mind that that is going to be in consideration for one of the top figures of the year / Masterverse figure of the year / of all time, because again, it's Scareglow. He's my everything when it comes to MOTU, and therefore he is my number 1 favorite Origins of 2021, and most likely of all time, at least until we get, I don't know, a better Scareglow. I don't know how you can get much better than this. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed my top 10 Masters of the Universe Origins figures of 2021 list. What are yours? Let me know in the comments below. With that being said, don't forget to comment, again, like, and subscribe. And if you are so inclined, please hit that notification bell so you know whenever I upload more content to the channel, because we've got to show that algorithm who's boss, right? Gonna be going back to reviews throughout the week so I don't bog you guys down with a bunch of top 10 videos. I don't like to be repetitive. I like to be a little bit more on the variety side, so we're going to be going back to some reviews. Got some Marvel Legends, got some Multiverse, got some Throwback Thursdays. As I mentioned in the Mythic Legions top 10 video I posted yesterday, we are going to be changing up the video schedule a little bit, but that will be sometime next month most likely. So stay tuned for that, or get ready for that, because there are some changes coming your way in 2022, as I said before. But as always, if you haven't already, hit me up on Instagram at Overlord Productions. But as always, keep the comments civil. The world sucks enough as it is. And until next time, I'll catch you guys later.